Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Representative Brian Lanoue from the 45th House District, representing 5 towns of Eastern Connecticut. I want to echo the comments of Representative Dubinsky. I too am strongly opposed to HB 6423 and SB 568. These bills erode religious freedom and parental rights. I think it is both morally wrong and wrong in the name of public policy to go after these cherished freedoms. With me is a constituent of mine, a parent, and somebody who's very concerned about this legislation, Katherine Kraemer of Griswold. I will turn the camera over to her.
Thank you, Brian. My name is Katherine Kraemer, and I am here to testify to oppose HB 6423 and SB 568. I am the signatory of the petition to oppose this very virtual hearing to remove the religious exemption with nearly 15,000 signatures from Connecticut residents. The lack of transparency created in a Zoom environment makes this application an inappropriate place to be discussing such controversial and contentious legislation. HB 6423 aims to remove all children with a religious exemption under 7th grade from school. However, the school immunization survey data located on the Connecticut DPH website confirms the use of the religious exemption declined in 2019 and 2020 from the previous year, from 2.5% to 2.3%. Per the CDC, for 2019 to 2020, the national exemption rate remained low at 2.5%, and 2.5% is the national average of kindergartners that had at least one vaccine, have at least an exemption for at least one vaccine on file. Connecticut exemption for the kindergarten entrance checkpoint is 2.3. Again, that is below the national low average of 2.5. The kindergarten school-by-school data is filled with inaccuracies. There are 15 schools in Hartford alone with 0 exemptions on file that fall below the 100% vaccination rate. These schools are the Sand School in Hartford has no exemptions on file, yet only a 60% vaccination rate for the MMR. The Burr School in Hartford has no exemptions on file for the kindergarten entrance checkpoint, but only a 74.1% vaccination rate for the MMR. The Nair School, the Nair Academy, has no exemptions on file for kindergarten, yet only an 89.9% vaccination rate for the MMR. These numbers are atrociously lower than 95%, and if your aim is truly to increase the vaccination rates, why isn't this committee focusing on the children that are non-compliant or the children on the in-progress schedule? Why isn't there a data set for children on a catch-up schedule?
You hit your 3-minute mark, if you wouldn't mind concluding your remarks.
Sure. These are serious questions that needed to be answered by the Department of Public Health Commissioner, and it's a shame that the commissioner is not here to testify to answer these questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative. Questions, Representative Dauphiné, followed by Senator Summers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your testimony. Do you conclude the data really shows an enforcement problem and not an exemption problem?
I believe that if we have a 40% error or inaccuracy for one school for the MMR vaccination rate, we shouldn't be looking at the 2.5%, especially when we have so many inaccuracies in this data. How could this committee ignore 40% of missing data and go after 2.5% if the aim is truly to increase vaccination rates?
Thank you for your testimony, and I can assure you many of us have those concerns as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Summers.
Yes, thank you for being here, and thank you for your testimony. I was surprised when I looked through the data to see these rates in the Hartford area. So these are folks that just have not complied to submit the information. They could be vaccinated, maybe, they maybe not, but they just haven't submitted paperwork. Is that correct, from what I understand?
There are 4 categories of people. There are children on the catch-up schedule, the in progress, There are
Right.
children that are non-compliant. There are children that are using the medical exemption, and there are children that are using the religious exemption. The only data sets we see in the school immunization data are the religious exemptions and the medical exemptions. Anything else is just a discrepancy. There should be a data set for the children on the in-progress schedule and the non-compliant, because that is where we're seeing the biggest gaps in this data.
I agree. So the data in the Hartford area in particular is striking. It really sticks out. That is all below the 95 percentile because of outside of an exemption. That has those children are not taking exemptions and they're still falling below. So therefore, removing a religious exemption is not going to do anything to impact these numbers. And if you think about it, I'd love for you to weigh in on this. If we proceed with this bill, we will successfully displace all of these children out of school so that they are no longer counted. And when we look at our data, our vaccination rates certainly will rise because we have put all our outliers outside of what we're counting. So we are absolutely inflating vaccination rates within our schools, but doing nothing about increasing vaccinations.
You're allowing the people that aren't following the rules to go to school. And you're telling the people that followed the rules and used this exemption that they're no longer allowed to school with this bill.
Thank you very much. And your daughter, do you have children that are in the school systems?
I have children that will all be removed from school. I have 1-year-old twin sons and a 6-year-old daughter that is in first grade that would all be removed from school and daycare with this bill. And I did what Representative Linehan suggested that I do last year. I quit my job to homeschool my kids. And I will tell you that it did not work with 1-year-old twins trying to homeschool a 6-year-old child in first grade. You can't teach phonics when you have kids screaming in the background. And we're not all wealthy enough to hire someone to come in 5 days a week to watch the babies so that we can educate our kids.
Thank you very much for your testimony today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions? If not, thank you, Representative Lanoue, and your constituent for your testimony today. We appreciate it. Next up